Why is it so hard to let love unfold and stay? Humming the same song, never writing the words, and our wheels they keep on turning. Why don't we feel it embracing us? There was a time when magic opened up our eyes. Why don't we feel it embracing us? There was a time when magic opened up our eyes. Living on the far side of town, sharing a dream with anyone. She's made it through heaven, she's made it through hell. It's just another story to tell. Have you ever felt you're missing the dream? Have you ever wished your life was like the movie on the screen? Filled with heartbreaks and fights through Hollywood nights. Making up a ball queen on the phone in the great big boulevard, the place she belongs. It's just another story she tells. Have you ever felt you're missing the dream? Have you ever wished your life was like the movie on the screen? Filled with heartbreaks and fights through Hollywood nights. Through Hollywood nights. Through Hollywood nights. Stay beauty, stay feeling. One brotherhood, one ship. Stay beauty, stay feeling. It's BV, it's BV, BV, it's BV, it's BV, it's BV, it's BV.
From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. Hey yo, heart of a villain beats hard in the centrifuge. Beer to BP, 100 interviews. All it
Good evening, everyone, and happy April 5th, 2024. This is The Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the bearded villains worldwide brotherhood. This is April 5th, and we are episode 210. And yes, I remembered to unmute myself to start the show out today. So, hey, we're already ahead of the game, right? Guys, thank you so much for being here. Those of you who are here live, I know we have a few first timers here with us on the live stream version. So thank you guys for finding some time to pop in. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can get all the notifications about all the good stuff coming up in the coming months and everything, all the stuff. But it's. This has been a rough week, and to say that is kind of an understatement, I think, in many regards. And we lost a good one this week, and not to say that any previous brothers that we've lost are any less or anything like that, but this one hit home for a lot of people, and I know there's a lot of people, a lot of brothers out there that are hurting right now because of the impact that Frankie had on them, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. What I want to do at the outset of this show tonight is I want to invite, because as you can see from there were Facebook posts, there are Instagram posts, there are basically every social media platform, at least that I know of, that I've been on, where I know that there's brothers that exist. There have been a flood of memorials and posts remembering him, the fun times, and it's been really fun to see. Fun in a way that it brings light and it brings some warmth to a time that everybody else right now that we are all just kind of mucking through the weeds right now. And whether you met him once or you met him, you saw him on a daily basis, he was a brother that stuck with you. So we're gonna talk and remember Frankie tonight for a bit, and then I want to get into another one of those portions of, and we'll see how the night goes. Maybe we would just leave it at that. But I also had planned on talking a little bit about one of the more potentially serious topics regarding the brotherhood that I think that I want to talk about and address. But initially tonight, I just want to talk about our brother Frankie, and share some stories that I've some posts that I've read, share some of the stuff that maybe some of you that are watching live, if you care to share some stories or whatnot about Frankie. If you want to, feel free to post comments in the comment section here live. If you want to, by all means, if you do a line audio call with me, I'll bring it into the show, and we can talk a little bit about if you want to share any kind of stories about Frankie in that All right, so we should be back up and running now. We should be back up and running. I think we're back up. Testing, testing. Looks like we're back up and running. Everybody. That was weird. That has never happened before. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Something. But hey, let's no idea. No idea. Don't know what's going on, but now we're back up and running. So anyway, if anybody wants to call in, that would be awesome, so we could hear from you and hear from you any kind of stories. But as I was saying before, apparently the world decided that I wasn't sounding okay. You know, the funny thing is that this brotherhood that we are a part of, and I don't use that word lightly. It's not just a grouping of friends. And yeah, Antonio, I don't think that's what it was, for sure. But we have this brotherhood, and it's a worldwide brotherhood. And one of the most amazing things that we can do within this brotherhood is we get to travel, if you're able, even a little bit, just even around the state, around the country. If you're lucky enough and you can travel internationally, that's awesome. But knowing that when you travel, here in the States specifically, when you travel to another state's function, knowing that there's certain people that you're always probably going to see if they're not a part of your chapter and they're not within a half-hour drive to you. But knowing that you're going to an event and most likely you're going to be able to see somebody again that you haven't seen in a few months. And there's always that thing. It's always there. And I think sometimes we forget or we don't value the fact that life is extremely short. Really, it is. And the older you get, the faster it seems to go. And I think sometimes we don't give ourselves the extra few moments to truly say goodbye, see you later to somebody, knowing full well that maybe it could be, because we don't notice that. We don't pay attention to that in the moment, that this could be the last time that we see somebody. And that's why it's so important for us to be telling our brothers, telling each other, love you, thank you for being here. Everything that you can possibly say, you need to make sure that you're saying it, because you never know when the last time you're going to see somebody is. And with some of the craziness of this brotherhood anyway, the fact that sometimes we've got guys that dip out of the brotherhood, we've got guys that are longstanding members and just decide that it's not for them anymore, but they're still your brothers. There's other brothers that are brothers and they just, life gets in the way and they're no longer able to travel like they used to. And so you may not see brothers that you were regularly in contact with. And we've talked a little bit about that recently here in the show. But when a brother passes, and a brother passes that was so key to so many people's bearded villain journey. And I knew that listening. I mean, I already knew that, because if you knew Frankie, you knew that he lit up every space that he was in. And you were instantly drawn to him the minute you showed up someplace. He was probably already there when you got there. And from across a room, you'd make eye contact. And I've heard so many people talk about his hugs and how healing they were, and how how great of a hugger he was, and it was family, and you knew it. And it was that's just what you always knew when you were coming in contact with Frankie. The smile, his smile was contagious, and you just knew that you were in the presence of one of the best brothers that you could be talking to. I interviewed him, I don't know how many times for the show, for various things that that were going on with his chapter. I've talked to him a few times about some stuff personally, and then of course at every meet that you can possibly go to where he's there. He's one of those guys that you always thought he was going to be there. You never even fathomed the fact that there would ever come a time where Frankie wasn't going to be around, that Frankie wasn't going to be available to just call or just message. And the fact that that's no longer an option for so many people that counted on that. It's a rough week for so many. Sorry, I had to cough. So, a lot of people are giving cheers and toasting his memory, and there's all sorts of stuff going on this week. It's been, and deservedly so, it's been a very heart-wrenching but heart-warming couple of days. And I have no idea, I'll just say this right now, I have no idea how long this episode's going to be. And I don't want to make this whole episode about Frankie, because Frankie be the first one to slap me upside my head and say, knock it off. He absolutely would. But I remember interviewing him live at an event, at one of the events down south that I was at, where I was actually trying to broadcast live for the show. And and he was just trying to, he was doing everything he could to push other people to the mic and tell, I needed to talk to this person, not him. So it was almost like I needed to try and chase him down. So I know he'd be one of the first people to tell me, just knock it off. But at the same time, I think it's important that when a brother is so present in the brotherhood and is such a key piece in why some of our brothers are here and why some of our brothers have continued and what they're, he's such a key player in their journey. I think we have to take time to talk a little bit about him. And so I wanted to share a few things with you. And I found a few different, of course, if you've been anywhere on social media the last 2 days, you've seen the outpouring of posts and some great stories, some very heartwarming comments. And I was able to, I grabbed a few, and I hope that nobody's upset by me sharing these because they're public. And these were posts that were done either by a chapter, or an individual brother. And some I really, really liked, but I just it didn't feel that, it was almost too personal. And I didn't feel that was something for me to grab a hold of and share. Because I think in the end, the memories that we have, the memories that you have of Frankie are yours, and they're personal. And so, if anybody does want to share some of those, that's completely up to you. And we would love to hear them, because there's some really good ones. There's some really good ones out there. As a matter of fact, I know, I'm trying to find it here in the show notes. Chris shared something that I thought was awesome, because I remember it. If you're unfamiliar, Chris used to do and you know what? I think you need to bring that back. But they used to do a live where they'd interview people. And he says, I remember doing our Friday Night Live. And in the middle of the interview, Frankie's girlfriend tracked his phone and showed up to crash the live. Absolute comedy ensued watching them interact. Yes, that was hysterical. That was absolutely hysterical. The shock on his face and then everything that ensued after that was priceless. It was kind of like a comic behind the scenes comedy of errors. That was so awesome to see. But yeah, that was definitely one for the books, and a great episode. It's actually one of the when you interview, and you guys know this, when you interview somebody when you interview people on a regular basis, and you talk to so many people, they all just kind of blend together a little bit, but you remember the bits of gold that come out, and some of those you obviously had some moments there with that show, with those interviews, and that was definitely one of them. But I just wanted to share a couple of things. I don't right now, and I've been trying to think, other than all of just the flooding of moments, and it's hard to remember specific conversations that I had with him. I've been trying, I just it's hard. It's hard to put into words, what you're, the different conversations. And I see Savvy here in the comments. Savvy, brother, man, I know you're hurting. Some of what you said was really, really kind of hard to read, but very, I'm sure, cathartic for you. And obviously, yeah, if you want to hop on, or if you want to share a story here in the comment section about Frankie, or if you want to call me online, bring you on the air, it's totally up to you. I don't want to force that on anybody. But when we lose somebody that is so young, and especially I find now, the older I get, I find myself a lot of nights reminiscing, and I think I've mentioned this, in a few different ways here on the show before. But me now turning 50, excuse me, earlier this year, or I'm sorry, late last year, really. It's the last like 10 years for me have been kind of very pivotal as kind of a mindset reset for me. And I take the time to really appreciate the small things in life and the people, not so much the things, but the people. And so I should have brought water instead of whiskey. So I find myself a lot of times talking about how important it is for us to remember. And I have learned so much from so many of our brothers here on this show, and little stories, little nuances about how they look at life and different things. And I still remember, and I don't think I'll ever forget a comment that one of our brothers down in Tampa Bay, Brian, Baby Clock, when I had him on for an interview, it was well over a year ago, maybe even closer to 2. And he was talking about remembering a friend of his, a good friend of his, and he talked about memories and taking pictures, and how important that concept is. And that's something that, capturing the moments, um, that has something that's really stuck with me. And, it's when I see all the posts from this week, I see all the comments come through and all the different photos, photo after photo after photo of memories, of moments. Some of them were nondescript, but that was a moment for Frankie and for whoever was in the photo with him. And there's so many of those out there right now. And I just think it's so important for us to focus on that stuff. Um, those that knew him best and were closest to him. Um, this has been an extremely hard week, last few days, and it's you're never going to be the same for knowing him. But the thing is that you knew that if you had any interaction with Frankie, you knew that this was a brother that, okay, you're going to be changed because you know him. You're going to be changed because he is something in your life. And looking back on it and now seeing the posts from everybody, it's clear, absolutely clear, that that was 100% the case for so many of our brothers. Um, yeah, he was a figure point in a lot of people's lives. Um, so I find myself nostalgic in moments like this, and it's not like a midlife crisis or anything, but and I always say that because I don't think that that's what it is. I think it's really important for us, especially the older we get, to really appreciate our upbringing, to really appreciate the life that we have lived and what it did to make us who we are now. I find myself a lot of times in situations like this thinking about um, your legacy, um, thinking about how you want to be remembered. And I know that that's a morbid thought for a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to think that way. But for me, if I'm well aware of how I want to be remembered, then with my time here, when I'm here, I know better what it is I need to do to be a better example, to be a better father, to be a better husband, to be a better brother. I know what I have to do those things. If you don't care about how you're remembered, then you can go about life and just not care. But I think those of us that are in this brotherhood care. I think we care about others and we care about the brothers that we are interacting with. And knowing that, I think it'll take you to a place of paying attention to your actions, paying attention to the words that you speak and the impact that you can have in even a tiny little way, a tiny little act of kindness that you do toward a brother or toward a stranger. So, one of my favorite quotes, and I know it's been attributed to old Abraham Lincoln, and I've heard also that maybe it wasn't, but it doesn't make the quote any less important or any less accurate. And the quote simply is, "In the end, it's not the years in your life that count; it's the life in your years." In the end, it's not the years in your life that count; it's the life in your years. And boy, I mean, if you've been paying attention at all to the photos, the stories that have come out this week, these last couple of days, you can certainly say that Frankie lived. um, there was a lot of life in those years. And what a testament to an incredible man, to an incredible brother we can have for that. So I just want to take a second, and I saved a few of the comments that I did come across. And I just want to share a few of those. And yes, Chris, that sentiment has been shared by so many brothers these last couple of days. Frankie was the definition of what this brotherhood was meant to so many. Yes, indeed. So I'm going to bring his picture back up here again, and while I read some of these, because this was just these. Some of these comments were just awesome. Really, they were, with the posts that they did. So this one was on the Northern Virginia villains page. It said, "In remembrance, nothing could prepare us for your departure from this world. You have been a pillar within our brotherhood. You have been a pillar within this brotherhood, our brotherhood, abroad in more ways than you could ever imagine. Your unwavering loyalty to your brothers quickly turned into family. Your infectious laughter that always filled any room you were in. Nothing will ever replace the joy you brought into so many lives. Our dearest friend, our chosen family, our beloved brother, Frank the Tank." So well written and suited perfectly to Frankie. What a laugh. What a laugh. When the news came out that Keith shared with us, it shook us. And he posted something that I thought was awesome. He said, "You were a true brother, a real friend, and a genuine human being that I cherished. You made me a better person, and I am honored to have had you in my life. I love you, Frankie, till the day I do, brother." Yeah. Yeah. Isn't that what is one of the more important? I mean, one of the most amazing things that you can say about somebody, that they made you a better person. And I've seen that from so many people these last couple of days when they're talking about Frankie. Bear Den said, "Thank you for showing me what a villain should be. Thank you for being the brother I needed you to be." Wow. I love that. Again, he said, "Thank you for showing me what a villain should be. Thank you for being the brother I needed you to be. I will always remember the miles we shared, the times we had, and the memories we made." I mean, it's heart-wrenching to hear, but at the same time, what a great testament to an incredible brother. Um, our brother Sudi, who I laugh at sometimes, and we all give him a hard time for a variety of different things. And now he's skinny Sudi. He posted something on his stories that I think we're all feeling based off of seeing all of the amazing stories and comments and photos that have come out. He said, "Scrolling Instagram the last 3 days, and especially today, all I see in my feed is Frankie, and that's just so beautiful. He literally had touched so many lives. Everyone has a memory of him. It's always a good one. What a special soul he was, roaming this place we call Earth. Looking back, we all realize what an impact he had on our lives. True definition of a good human being, an angel." Sudi, I mean, I couldn't have said it any better. I couldn't have said that any better. And the last one I just wanted to share came from Richmond. Yesterday we lost a brother who was the absolute definition of brotherhood and friendship. We must continue his legacy on through all of us, and we need to remember that our time here is short. So make it the best we can. We will see you on the other side. You know, it's an incredible testament again to what a brother can do, what a brother can be when you see the lives that were touched. And so this kind of gets me into another thing. This whole prospect of brotherhood, this whole prospect of legacy and doing the right thing, being there for each other, setting an example. We don't go out of our way. We don't make it a point to go set an example, but we can set examples by the way we live our lives, the interactions that we have with people, the charity that we give, the general way we treat people. And within Bearded Villains, within this brotherhood, it's really important that we're aware of that. You know, there's a show that Ricky Gervais did, and I've shared this little clip not on the show before, because I know that the second I share this clip on the show, this episode is going to have a little knock against it because, you know, royalty rights and all that stuff. But, you know, if I was ever going to share it, this would be the one. So I'm going to mention it first so that if anybody wants to go out and view it after the fact, you'll know where to find it on YouTube or wherever else. But it's a clip of Ricky Gervais in one of his shows, in his series that he put together, talking about, he's talking with a female. I don't want to give anything away, but she talks to him about kindness, and she's talking to him about great men. And I think the words that are here are so poignant because, as you've heard from the words that I just read, from all the different posts that you've heard, the impact that Frankie had on everybody. He didn't know, and it's not that he set out to make an impact. He was who he was. And through being the man that he was, the brother he was, he impacted so many different lives. And he impacted people's lives in a way that's going to be remembered for years and years, for the rest of the life of all of us that knew him. And we won't forget him. And so I think in a way, he, and along with all of us, as we go on and we interact with things, with our other brothers, it's like, as this clip is going to show, it's like planting trees for the future, right? I'm going to share this one because, well, Savvy had to, of course, share a couple of these here from our comment section here live before I play that little snippet that I was going to play. Sook doesn't come in here on the live streams very often, but I have to say it. Yeah. Frankie was the brother you looked forward to seeing. He was a bright light in this dark world. Yes. Savvy. Frankie was the guy you wanted in your corner. He was my best friend and uncle to my kids. He always had a seat at our table. Yes. That's how he was. And I know you were super close with him. And hopefully, you know, it warms your heart a little bit, seeing all of the words and stories that have come out. They're not telling you anything that you didn't already know, but hearing how he impacted other people's lives as well, it's truly, truly incredible. So this little clip right here, and I know, like I said, after this, if you're listening to this or you're trying to watch this episode later, it won't, it probably will not be available for you to hear this or even watch it. So, but this is such a cool clip. And I think this is a great reminder of not only Frankie, what he did for us without knowing it, but also what we can continue to do in this brotherhood for others. So here's this.
Happiness is amazing. It's so amazing, it doesn't matter if it's yours or not. There's that lovely thing. A society grows great when old men plant trees, the shade of which they know they will never sit in. Good people do things for other people. That's it, the end.
Just a short little clip, but it gets me every time I see it. And I think it's so impactful of what we can be about, of what we are about, what Frankie was about without even knowing it. Every interaction people had with him. I don't know how many times you came across somebody, you came across an event and somebody was shouting his name because they finally just saw him when they just got there, or trying to get his attention. And he's going to be missed forever. So I share that clip because I think it's really important for us, especially now with everything that's going on in the BV world, to focus on what's important, to focus on our brothers and focus on why we're here, why you found BV in the first place. Focus on that. Focus on that thing that drives you, that wants you to continue to be a part of this brotherhood and the brothers that we have in it. We can't move forward. We can't do anything if we're bogged down with all the crap, all of the stuff that doesn't matter. It's not going to do anything to help the brotherhood to focus on it. And when push comes to shove, we see people talk about it all the time. We see brothers complain about things. We see brothers make comments on things. And sometimes I wonder if some of the things that brothers are commenting on are making assumptions on. And I think a lot of times that's what's happening. I think brothers are speaking because they think they have to, or they're speaking because they hear something, but they haven't fully investigated it themselves. They haven't fully looked into something. They just hear somebody say something and they jump on. Yeah. And then this leads to a situation where we don't know, and guys assume. We run into a situation where, we're focused on all the wrong stuff. We're no longer focused on the brotherhood. We're no longer focused on the thing that brought us here in the first place. I asked a few weeks ago why you found BV. And I had a ton of people. It was the most answered question I think I've ever asked publicly, in hopes that people would chime in with answers. And all I heard time after time was looking for something missing in my life, looking for a brotherhood, looking for a tight-knit community, looking for And little did I know how much it would impact my life. Little did I know how it would change my life, how the brothers have changed my life and made it better. And I think it feels like right now that we're focused on the wrong thing. We're not focused on that anymore. We're focused on one person, so many people. And I tried to stay out of this thing. I've danced around it a little bit. And I find it hard to talk about sometimes because I think some of the people I respect most in this brotherhood have a very, very differing viewpoint than I do. And I've been here since, the beginning of this podcast. I've been here since, however long this show's been on, and even before that as a brother, trying to stay positive and push positivity, push the fact that the brotherhood is what matters. But when it seems like there's fractures in the brotherhood because of a lack of focus on that thing, on the brotherhood. What bothers me, I think, about it is, and I'm going to preface this right now. I have no idea how many people are watching us live, and how many people are going to dip out once I start talking, as I continue to talk about this. But I don't understand how you can be a part of this brotherhood and then in one way say that you love it and everything, but then at the same time, it's not what it once was. Well, why isn't it? And I've talked about this before, so I don't want to touch on this specific fence post item about why it's not, because we talked about that a little bit before. But I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing it. I'm tired of hearing from guys that have been around since 2014, 2015, 2016, talking about the good old days and it's not any different. You are. I hate to say it, but in so many cases, the brotherhood has grown. The brotherhood has transformed into this thing that it is today, and you haven't changed. Now, I'm not saying you have to, but you can't sit and bitch and moan about the fact that it's not what it once was, because anything that's worth anything is going to grow. It's going to transform. The little tiny brotherhood thing, the little tiny club that existed back in 2014, 2015, obviously it's going to grow. And when it grows, it's going to change its makeup. It's going to change what it is. And it's going to change what it is because of the people that are a part of it. It's not changing what it is because of one person. It's not changing what it is because of the person that created it by name. A lot of stuff's being flung over at him. And it has been for a few years, and I understand that part of it. I understand the feelings of lack of support. I understand the frustration in knowing that the person that put the name on the door and created the club in 2014 hasn't come to support physically in person at all these different events. I understand that frustration. But I also know that it's not a complete lack of support. I've said it publicly. And I know that there's other chapters that have benefited as well. that we have received, our chapter has received support over the years. We've had donated merch for events. That is a form of support. And I know that there's other chapters out there. I know that there's other chapters out there that have benefited in that way, and they don't speak up to it. I don't know what the reason is. Now, this is not BP getting on a soapbox trying to defend one person. That's not what this is about. This is BP standing on a soapbox trying to defend this brotherhood. And I'm not the end-all, be-all person on this topic. I understand that. But I have a microphone. What did they say? What did he say with the wedding singer? I have a microphone, so you will listen to every word out of my mouth. People can just turn this off. I get that. If you don't like what I'm saying, you can turn it off and never listen again. But I get so tired of brothers focusing on him. I get so tired of brothers focusing on and demonizing him. He created the thing. You can't take it away from him. You can't take the name away from him. So deal with it. Now, once you get past this point, once you get past the reality and you recognize that you can't do a damn thing about that, you can't change it. It's his name. It's his club. Fine. Right? Now, you have a choice. Do you want to be a part of that or not? Now, here's where the ownership comes in for the brotherhood. Here's where what we, what you, what I, what all the brothers around the world have done. This is where what I would say is our ownership stake in this, right? Because what started out in 2014 as a social media-based Instagram page, take photos of yourself kind of club, it has blossomed. It has transformed into a brotherhood, a true brotherhood, not a brotherhood by name. That's the difference. It's not a brotherhood in name. When Bearded Villains was created, it was referred to as a brotherhood. When Bearded Villains was created, it was referred to as a brotherhood. But how is it a brotherhood? How is it a brotherhood in any way, shape, or form? When all you're doing is reaching out, taking pictures, and saying, hey, yo, here we go. Cool picture, cool beard. Yeah. Here's a patch. What's it represent? I don't know. It says you're a villain. I mean, in the initial stages, in the first several months, when this thing began, it wasn't a brotherhood. It's only a brotherhood because of what the brothers have done with it. I don't understand how I'm not getting any audio. Sorry, Justin. Everything's showing up green for me. All of my audio is working as far as I can see. But this brotherhood, as we know it today, it's because of everyone that's a part of it. So when brothers tell me and when brothers say it's not what it used to be, I applaud that. I applaud the fact that it's not what it used to be. Now, you may have been a part of it early on and seen the growth start, but the reason that it is today what it is today is because of an effort by all of the brothers all around the world. It has truly become a worldwide brotherhood. And you can now use that term, brotherhood, as what it is. You can now say it's a brotherhood. Now, not all brothers are going to get along. Not all brothers are going to agree. Some brothers are going to fight. That doesn't make it not a brotherhood. Right? Where did we get this impression that in order for it to be a brotherhood, you can't argue, you can't disagree? Where did we get that? We come from so many different walks of life, from so many different parts of the world, that of course there's going to be disagreements. But what holds it together is the belief in this thing. It's the belief in this brotherhood. And no one person in California is going to stomp on that. And I don't think that's what he wants. I think in some people's eyes it is, but it's not. And it's also not a fact that he wants to try and own your chapter. Many different chapters are out there as nonprofits now. That's a business. That's yours. That's not his. But like anything else, if you choose to be a part of a club, there are going to be rules. Some people call them bylaws. We've had them in place for I don't know how long. I don't know when the first set of bylaws came out. I just know that there have been bylaws since I came around in 2017. And bylaws change. They're fluid. When you see something that needs to be addressed, you see something that you can do better as a club, you adapt new bylaws or you change things. There's fluidity in that. As you grow, you have to recognize that, right? So things will change. So when I hear of brothers speaking so adamantly about they refuse to fill out this little form that was on the BV page because I don't know, I've heard so many different things. But what concerns me is it's in some ways, it feels like it's fracturing the brotherhood in some ways. And I'm not placing blame specifically on any one person or a chapter. But I think that there's a misconception out there about what exactly that thing was. Some people were referring to it as a new version of a census. I don't know if that's truly what it is because it didn't gather all of the same information that a previous censuses that we've had did. It gathered some. But if you look at that, and I think that there's people that are being told it was one thing, and they're just settling for that. They're being told it was this, but it wasn't really. That's just what that one person's interpretation of what it was. They never really looked at it themselves. And so now they're under this belief that it was this big, bad agenda thing when it wasn't. And as I understand it, there's a whole ton of chapters that filled it out without hesitation, no big deal. And the number of chapters that didn't, I don't know, it sounds like it's not many. So where's the confusion? Because if you look at what was written, what you were asked to agree to, it was the same stuff that's already in the bylaws. That's what's crazy. It really is. So I want to bring it up. I want to bring it up. Maybe I'm going to lose viewers. Maybe I'm going to have some brothers that, want to argue and fight with me. That's fine. That doesn't make you less of a brother. I've always said I want open conversation. I want to have that dialogue. I want to have those tough conversations. I'll give you my opinion. You give me yours. That's what this is about. That we're men. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to feel like we have to hide behind things. Let's have those conversations. I may say something and you may disagree with me. But what bothers me is when it feels like people are disagreeing, people are shunning things simply because of a personal feeling towards somebody. This brotherhood is bigger than one person, any one person, no matter who that one person is. This brotherhood is bigger than any one person. What did it say? In affirming our chapter's commitment to the Bearded Villains worldwide brotherhood and its established structure, ranks, and leadership, we hereby acknowledge the following. Adherence to BV basic rules and support of both chapter and member levels. Okay. Not hard. Recognition of Bearded Villains as a free and volunteer social club, ensuring no member is required to pay any fees for participation. I've heard some people complain about that one. Did you know it's been in the bylaws all this time? It always says it's free. It always did say it. Now, if you choose as a chapter to have something in writing or have something where you have some sort of a member fee or something like that, that's on you. That's your individual chapter choice and is usually tied in with the fact that you're a business. But the bylaws have always stated that it's free. And the bylaws have always stated that no person can be denied membership because they don't pay. So that's always been in there. But there's always been an allowance for the chapter to do its own thing. And this isn't taking that away. This is basically written the exact same way. This is saying the exact same thing that it always has said. Respect the rights reserved by the Bearded Villains brand regarding its name and images. That's been in theirs too. It's not hard. It really isn't that hard. Yes, he owns the name and the images, and it spells out in there what it's for. It spells out there what you can and can't use. That's always been in there. Why do we need to try and push it? Why do we need to dip our toes in the water and say, yeah, but just don't? There are so many other things out there that you can use. We're the Northern Indiana Bearded Villains. If we want to use the Northern Indiana Bearded Villains or Bearded Villains Northern Indiana, then we have to follow certain protocols. If we want to use that, we have to use the logo. We have to use the full logo if we want to use all of that. I get it. Guess what? That's not a hard one to follow, folks. It's not a hard one to follow that, if you're going to use the Bearded Villains with that you just ask her permission first. You may get told no. Okay, fine. Guess what? We still have shirts that are made that say Northern Indiana Villains. We don't put the bearded part in there. And we don't use their cross swords. We came up with something of our own. Every chapter has its own logo. You have your own identity. Why do we need to push the envelope with this? It's always been in the bylaws. So respect it. If you choose not to use it, if you choose not to buy the merch, don't. But there's no need to make a fuss over it. Appointment of 2 representatives, captain, co-captain, within each chapter to facilitate communication with BV mentors, BV board members who are available to provide assistance to all chapters worldwide. Okay, that seems pretty straightforward. Adherence to the only Bearded Villains mission statement without alterations. That's really not that big of a deal, is it, guys? Is it? It wasn't up until about 3 months ago when a faction of people, a faction of brothers, were trying to launch this huge thing, and it was personal, and it seemed to fracture and it seemed to create lines in the brotherhood. You're either with us or you're against us type of a thing. Then we suddenly started seeing, for the first time publicly, a chapter or two coming out with its own mission statement. Now, whether that existed beforehand or not, I don't know, but rarely, if ever, was it ever public. And so, yeah, did it feel an awful lot like there were chapters suddenly creating or publicizing their own mission statement just to counteract the other one as just a middle finger to the BV side of things? Yeah, it felt a lot like that. How does that help our brotherhood? Nobody's saying that you have to put your right hand on you have to put your hand in the air and your other hand on a Bible and swear allegiance to this word for word mission statement. All it's asking you to do is respect that it's there and not alter it. Again, if we don't act like children, it's not a problem. We are men. Why is this so hard? I get so frustrated by this. By upholding these principles, we strive to maintain unity and integrity within our chapter and the broader Bearded Villains community. And then you just check this box. In representation of the mentioned chapter, I have read and agree with these terms. You aren't signing your life away with this. You aren't signing your chapter's life away. You're not signing your ownership to the chapter. You're not signing your chapter's identity, rights, or anything. I don't understand it. You can still exist as your own chapter. You can still do your own thing. I just don't get it. I wish it was easier to understand. But at the end of the day, the brothers in this brotherhood that have developed it into what it is, that's why we're here. That's why brothers join. Because in this brotherhood, we have something that they're missing. In this brotherhood, there's something missing from your life, from my life. And we found it here. So why does it feel like there's a faction of our brotherhood that's trying to shit on it? It's what it feels like. It feels an awful lot like it's just personal now. And if you're going to be that gung-ho and fortified in your stance and your distaste, your dislike for one man, I'm sorry, but it feels a little bit like you're taking a dump on the brotherhood then. The brotherhood over brand thing, again, it feels like it's all meant to be just a middle finger at one person. It's not building a brotherhood. It's not repairing a brotherhood. All it's doing is causing a divide. It's divisive. All that we're doing by doing those kind of things is tearing down the fabric of what this brotherhood is. I mean, just to stand up and go brotherhood over brand. I support the brotherhood, not the brand. Okay, but why? Why is that even a thing? You found Bearded Villains for a reason. You decided willingly to come into this club and make it a part of your life. And if you're still here, I would say it's a significant part of your life because of the men that you come in contact with. Everybody came here for a reason. Many came here for the same reason. And just because you want to stand on a pedestal and say it's the brotherhood, yes, it's the brotherhood. But just acknowledging that somebody else has a stake in the brand doesn't take away from the brotherhood part of it. It's not either or. It doesn't have to be either or. Now, there's some people that seemingly feel like it is. We're either here or we're here. Why can't we be here in the middle? Yes, the brotherhood is the fabric. It's the thing. The brotherhood is why we're here. We were looking for we weren't looking for a t-shirt company, right? We weren't looking for a hat company. We weren't looking for bearded people's merch. We weren't looking for that. That existed. That has existed. But once you found out that there was a brotherhood here and became a part of it, and it became a part of you, then you realize that it's so much more than a name. Right? A name is just a name. To kind of offhanded quote a certain movie that just came out last year. A name is just a name. Until the brotherhood creates what it is. And that's what we have done here. A worldwide brotherhood. A worldwide grouping of men have created the brotherhood into what it is today. Far and above what it started out to be. But does that mean that you need to be so focused on slamming a door in somebody else's face? We don't support the merch because he doesn't support us. We don't support the brand because the brand is the brotherhood. It's what it came from. Nobody's saying that you have to raise your hand and swear allegiance to him. All you have to do is focus on you. Focus on your chapter. Focus on the brothers that make a difference in your life. It's not hard. And because of that, I don't understand why people say it's not fun anymore. I have a blast. I love it. I hear people want to leave because it's just not for them anymore. If you don't focus on all the shit, then it's not there. Really. I feel sorry for the people that are so bogged down in wanting to be right. I feel sorry for the people that are so bogged down in wanting to prove a point. It does nothing. It does nothing. I just don't understand it. I know guys that are going to feel a certain way about what I've said. And I get it. But let's have that conversation because the brotherhood will endure. The question is, do you want to be a part of it? And I have a feeling that there will be some that don't. Moving forward, I would not be surprised to see us lose some brothers and some chapters because they can't see past the personal side of it. They can't see past whatever feelings they have toward one individual. They can't. They can't put it aside for the good of the brotherhood. And it's going to suck to see some guys go if they choose that that's what their choice is. But don't let it be because you don't want to fill out or agree to this form. Don't let it be because you think that it means this when it doesn't. If you are not a captain or a co-captain of a chapter, if you are not, and you know, if you find out for a fact that your chapter has not agreed, that your captains have not filled this out, here's something I'll put right to you. All you have to do is go to the Bearded Villains website. Go to the Bearded Villains website and scroll down to find a chapter. Everybody that has completed that little form and agreed to it, every chapter that has, is on the map. If your chapter is not on the map, then your chapter captains have not filled that out. Plain and simple. Now, then you have to ask a question. Why? Ask your captains why that's not been done. Is there a specific reason? If there's a specific reason, have they discussed it with the chapter? Or are they just making a decision on their own for whatever reason? Ask. It's your chapter too. Do you want to be represented in there? Now, if your captains are making the choice on their own that that's not something that they want to fill out, then that's a different conversation that you're going to have for the future of your chapter. I'm not trying to promote coups and overthrows and stuff like that, but it's important for communication to happen within chapters. And in talking to some brothers over the last few weeks, I get the impression that they're being told one thing by captains, and it's not really what is going on. And sometimes those decisions, those conversations aren't happening with chapter brothers who have just as much vested in this as anybody else. We are a brotherhood of men. Communication should not be a problem, but it seems like it always is, doesn't it? I don't want to rant on about this all night, but all I can say is we need to do better. We need to focus on what is important. And I can tell you what's not important. What's not important is trying to focus on what one person has done or hasn't done to support. What's not right, what's not helpful is focusing on what one person's clothing brand stands for. And trying to be divisive and separate it from what the brotherhood is. It doesn't help anything. Focus on you. Focus on your brothers. Be there for each other. Help do what this brotherhood is meant to be a part of, what it's meant to do. To be there for your brothers and be there for your community. I said it a couple weeks ago. Be there for your brothers and be there for your community. We've got to stop focusing on the wrong stuff. We have to. We have to stop focusing on what doesn't matter, what's not going to grow us, and what's not going to make us whole. Well, that's all I got. I know I probably pissed some people off tonight, and not to say that I'm proud to do it, but I've been thinking about this stuff for a bit, and I get tired. I get tired of constant complaining. I get tired of complaints when nobody's trying to fix stuff. I get tired of complaints just because of complaints. There's people out there that love to complain, and that's what they live for. Times come where we need to move past. Times come where we need to focus on what's important, and that's the brotherhood. And I know some people just can't do that. And that's going to be on them. But do yourself a favor and focus on what is important. And if anybody else wants to stomp on you, if anybody else wants to tell you to shut up, if anybody else wants to tell you that your opinion doesn't matter, if anybody else wants to tell you any of that stuff that's just going to bring the negativity, push it aside. Like anything else in life, there's going to be brothers that you're just not going to get along with. There's going to be brothers that you argue with. There's going to be brothers that you have differing opinions with. That may be the case. But we can't let the brotherhood fracture because of it. We can't let the brotherhood fracture. So that's it. Guys, I don't know what else I can say. I'm going to wrap this thing up. It's been a long week already. Last few days, it's been a rough few days. I know guys are hurting. I know that guys may end up in situations where they just don't know what they need to do, where they need to go, what they need to say. When emotions get heavy, people can sometimes get to a dark place. So I'm not even starting the music yet because it's so important that I want to say it. Remember that is the words that I always say. It's okay not to be okay. And now this week, these last few days more than ever, if you are hurting, you need to talk to somebody. We have brothers all over the world willing to raise a hand, willing to take the time to sit and just listen. So, if you need to, you can reach out to me, and any one of the many, many, many hundreds all over the world will be there for you. So if you are hurting, if you need to talk to somebody, just remember that's what you need to do. Find a way to do it. That's going to be it, guys. It's going to wrap up episode 210. Cheers to everybody out there. Cheers once again. Frankie, rest in peace. We will miss you, brother. And I hope to see everybody again next week or in the coming weeks, months, whatever it is. Be good to each other out there, guys. Let's focus on the future and be positive. All right, guys. Take care. Until next week, take care. Stay safe.